is another level of step up we still have not fully grasped in a harmonious way.
You've made a career out of being an activist, being a rabble-rouser, maybe earlier in your career, before your humanitarian relief work. I mean, is there any part of you that empathizes with the protesters or feels sympathy for them?
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say this. When I see people, doing the unmasked, kind of what feels a bit hateful in its demonstration, weapons over shoulders and so on. What I see is people who are scared. They're scared of not mattering, and we've got to work on that. And we got to care about them as much as we do anybody else, and I do. I can get infuriated watching that, but that is where we go to leadership, and I think that we all can see where leadership harnesses the best in America and where it doesn't.
How do you think the question of leadership is going to impact the 2020 election?
As of 2016, I opt out of this conversation. Look, what happened is on us. It's on us for whether people are for this, happy with this administration, and those who are desperately unhappy with it. Those who wanted someone else in the White House evidently did not work hard enough, and I count myself in. They won. That's the Electoral College, and now it's up to America whether they're going to re-embrace that or change it.
During the primaries, you told Jimmy Kimmel, you said that you're increasingly focused and excited about the younger people than yourself deciding what the strategy should be and what's at the heart of what the principles we stand for are. So in terms of those principles that we stand for, who is going to be a better leader to continue us through COVID-19? Is that Joe Biden or is that President Trump?
I think it's some brilliant 25-year-old who's got better digital fluency than either of them. And I think, we are in an inverted possession of wisdom these days. It used to be always us. I was hoping to age into the older, wiser set, but I look and I think the greater wisdom is in the youth. I think that the way to change this country right now is to say, let's take your lead, because it's their future. And I think that they are an oppressed society. Their dreams have been limited by our mistakes or threatened, certainly. I remember mountain caps, snow caps that had been there, in time and in perpetuity, and they're gone now. And you talk about these things, this climate issue. COVID won't be the existential threat, but it is the existential opportunity. I think climate is probably the first one, and nuclear proliferation is the other one that I'd be more concerned with. But again, I would lower the age of what is it, about 36, 37? You got to be president of the United States.
35.
So let's take 10 years off of that, and we'll be in business.
Listen, final question. As an artist, as you look at this pandemic, are you finding a deeper meaning or understanding about why we're experiencing this now?
It was a funny thing. When I was first in Haiti, 2010, after the earthquake, I knew a lot of people who I would run into thought I was there to make a movie about it. And it wasn't for years that I actually until I ended up considering what that would look like. And what I thought was that the only way to hit the human heart with this story is that it could not be a drama. It has to be a farce. Like MASH, that great movie. We knew in our guts, in our hearts, we knew this was going to happen. Something like this was going to happen. So I think that, if I look at it through that lens, like most things, until we can make fun of ourselves, we can't grow. So I think that would be the presentation that I would go to.
When are we going to make fun of ourselves again in the movies? When are people going to be back in the theaters?
That's an interesting look. I wondered when people were going to be back in the theater once everything started streaming. There's a lot of social distancing in that sense beforehand. I hope that we get over being digitally connected a bit and realize that it does matter to be together, whether it's in a movie theater, when the time is right or not. And my biggest hope is that, like what happened after the Vietnam War, and let's remember, it took 10 years to kill 58,000 Americans. It took a few months to kill 90,000 Americans in this one. So this is going to be with us. And in the aftermath of that war, American cinema was in its golden age. The greatest American films probably of all time were once we had been through that common horror together. And so it's my hope that one of the collateral silver linings is we'll be wanting to go to the theater to see things that connect us and are thoughtful, not only those things that take us outside of our reality.
Sean Penn, keep doing your good work on and off the screen. Thanks for coming to Firing Line.
Thank you very much.